Good evening. Welcome to the news at 4 on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Ugbebo. President Bola Tinubu has made changes in the hierarchy of the service chiefs in furtherance of the efforts of the federal government of Nigeria to strengthen the national security architecture. A statement signed by the special advisor to the president, media and public communications, Sunday Dare, said the president appointed General Lufemi Oluyede to replace General Christopher Musa as the new chief of defense staff. The new Chief of Army Staff is Major General W. Shaibu. Air Vice Marshal S.K. Aneke is Chief of Air Staff, while Rear Admiral I. Abbas is the new Chief of Naval Staff. Chief of Defense Intelligence, Major General AEAP Udiendeye retains his position. The President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, expresses most profound appreciation to the outgoing Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, and the other service chiefs for their patriotic service and dedicated leadership. The President charges the newly appointed service chiefs to justify the confidence reposed in them to further enhance the professionalism, vigilance, and comradeship that define the armed forces of Nigeria. All appointments take immediate effect. In another development, at least 11 suspected high-level members of several terrorist groups have been arrested by the International Criminal Police Organization, Interpol, in Nigeria. They were among the 83 suspects apprehended across 6 African countries in an operation codenamed Operation Catalyst. Countries where arrests were made include Nigeria, Angola, Cameroon, Kenya, Namibia, and South Sudan. In a statement, Interpol revealed that the operation lasted 2 months and targeted terrorism financing and the illegal activities supporting it. It added that over 15,000 persons of interest and entities were looked into. The operation discovered $260 million in both fiat and virtual currencies and seized over $600,000. Of the 83 arrests, 21 were for terrorism-related crimes, 28 were for financial fraud and money laundering, 16 were linked to cyber-enabled scams, and a further 18 were related to the illicit use of virtual assets, the statement read in part. In a developing story, Nyesom Wike, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory (FCT), says he will only testify in the trial of Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, if the court orders him to. On Thursday, Kanu disengaged his legal team led by Kanu Agabi, a senior advocate of Nigeria, SAN, prompting the lawyers to formally withdraw their representation. He subsequently listed 23 witnesses, including prominent political and military figures, in 2 categories: ordinary but material witnesses and vital and compellable, to be summoned under Section 232 of the Evidence Act 2011. Those listed as vital and compellable witnesses are Theophilus Danjuma, former Minister of Defense, Tuko Buratai, former Chief of Army Staff, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Lagos State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, Governor of Imo State, and the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike. Others named include Okezie Ekpeazu, former Governor of Abia State, Dave Umahi, Minister of Works, Abubakar Malami, former Attorney General of the Federation, Ahmed Rufai, immediate past Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, NIA, Yusuf Bichi, former Director General of the Department of State Services, DSS, and Oluwatosin Adiola Ajayi, the current DSS DG. Speaking during an interview on Friday in Abuja, Wike stated that he would not testify in Kanu's trial merely because the IPOB leader had included his name as a witness. The minister said he will comply if the court formally summons him to testify or present evidence. You don't become a witness by reading the newspaper. Nobody has served me any process. Nobody has subpoenaed me, Wike said. So because I was listed, I will begin to run helter-skelter? No, you don't do that. If I'm served or subpoenaed to appear as a witness or provide evidence, I must comply with the court's orders. I must appear. Wike declined to comment on whether Kanu's continued detention requires a political solution. The IPOB leader has been in the custody of the Department of State Services at DSS since he was extradited from Kenya in June 2021. He is currently facing terrorism charges. There have been growing calls for Kanu's release, particularly from stakeholders in the southeast. Kanu's lawyer also claimed that his health is deteriorating daily. The court has declined several requests to allow Kanu to leave the DSS custody for medical treatment. Meanwhile, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, has disclosed that some of his witnesses will be coming from Ethiopia, Kenya, and the United States. He's disclosed this to Justice James Omotosho of an Abuja Federal High Court on Friday. The first category, he said, will be those he called ordinary but material witnesses. He further informed the court that his second category of witnesses will be vital and compellable and shall be summoned under Section 232 of the Evidence Act 2011. He prayed the court that in view of the number of witnesses he intended to call, the court should consider granting a 90-day time frame to enable him to conclude his defense. In another news, Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State says he was shocked over the use of drones by Boko Haram terrorists to attack soldiers. Zulum stated that despite well-circulated intelligence that the Mafa area of the state will be attacked, troops could not prevent it from happening. The governor made his disclosure on Friday in Mafa town when he paid a post-assessment visit to areas attacked by Boko Haram in the early hours of Thursday. Addressing journalists, Governor Zulum expressed his grave concern over the emergence of this new threat, stating that the successful use of a drone by the terrorists to target a key military asset exposes a critical vulnerability in Nigeria's airspace security. I believe there might be sabotage within that has to be identified and addressed. We don't have to blame each other. We have to come together and resolve this situation, the governor stated. Foreign news, Cameroon's opposition leader, Issa Chiroma Bakari, who has declared himself the winner of the 12 October elections, has told the BBC that he will not accept a stolen vote with the results due to be announced on Monday. He says his team has compiled the overall picture based on results from individual polling stations, so there is no doubt. Chiroma Bakari, 76, is a former government minister who broke ranks with President Paul Biya, 92, who is seeking another term after 43 years in power. The ruling party has dismissed Chiroma Bakari's victory claims, and several officials have described it as illegal because only the Constitutional Council can proclaim official results. Chiroma Bakari said he had urged his supporters to defend their votes, adding, "We will never accept their votes being stolen by anyone." He said he was not concerned about being arrested or being put in jail, but I know that I've already won the presidential election. There's no doubt, no shadow of doubt whatsoever. My victory is undeniable, he told the BBC in an interview. He said the ruling CPDM party had their backs against the wall and could not accept the reality of the vote and challenged them to show if what he was saying about the election was wrong. He defended his decision to declare himself the winner, insisting that the law does not prevent us from doing so. Asked whether he would accept defeat if someone else is declared the winner, he said he will agree, provided the Constitutional Council announces the results that comes from the ballot box, not ballot stuffing. Tensions over the delayed announcement of the election results have been growing, sparking fears of post-electoral violence in a country already rocked by separatist conflict in the Anglophone regions and Boko Haram insurgency in the far north region. The highly respected and influential Catholic Church in Cameroon this week urged calm following fears that violence could erupt once official results are declared. Catholic bishops said they hope the official result will reflect the will of the electorate and nothing will be changed by any authority involved in this exercise. And now entertainment. Nigerian Afrobeat star Yemi Alade has revealed that lying about her age for years once drove her into a period of depression. Speaking in a recent interview with media personality Chu Ji-Yong-wo, the award-winning singer admitted that she spent 3 years telling people she was 22, only to later realize she was actually 25. According to Yemi, the discovery left her mentally shaking as she struggled to come to terms with the truth about her real age. There was a time someone asked me how old I was, and for about 3 years I kept saying 22. Then one day I calculated it and realized I was already 25. I was depressed for a few days because my mind couldn't process it. It was mental for 3 years. I didn't know my age, she said. The Nakam hitmaker added that the experience taught her how easily self-deception can impact one's mental health, describing those years as a tough one, but eye-opening period in her life. That concludes the news at 4 on Leadership Television. Don't forget to log into www.leadership.ng and for all our social media handles for more of the news. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio.